Look, no. Oh, hi. You're probably wondering why I'm sat inside humming to a snail. The obvious answer to that is because my neighbours are in their garden, and actually if I'm humming to the snail outside, I think they might think that I'm a bit strange. So I've come inside to hum. Although I guess the other question is, why am I humming to a snail? And the answer to that is that it's on this week's activity sheet on listening, because the prayer course this week is on listening, on hearing God's voice. How do we hear God? And so one of the activities is that apparently if you hum to snails and slugs, that actually the vibrations caused by you humming causes them to come out and to explore. I did actually try this earlier, but my slug that I had was so small, and he did turn to me when I hummed in a certain pitch. He always came towards me. But he was so small you couldn't really see him. So I've had to do it with a very non-cooperative snail here. So that's what we're doing this week. So you can explore that sheet. There's other things games and activities to do outside, looking at listening to God. And you know what, last week we talked about being still and knowing that He is God, and the need for us to log in and listen. And then this week's on listening to God, and how do we hear God's voice? What's that all about? Is it like a big sound voice? And actually, we look in the Bible, and the story in 1 Samuel that we're going to hear about later, and you can read on here, is that they didn't recognise it was God's voice. It sounded like a normal voice. So how do we know that it is God speaking to us? And Pete Gregg's going to go on a bit later to talk about one of the most obvious ways is through the Bible. And last week, Richard talked about the importance of having rhythms where we log in, we talk to God, we listen to God, we read His Word. And we're about to come into Advent, which I bet a lot of you have your Advent calendars and you're waiting to open them up. But Advent's a great time of the year where it gives us a rhythm to log into God, a set amount of time where we think, right, we've got 24 days, 25 days, depending if you're up to Christmas Day, where we can just make it be a bit more purposeful about that time. And so we've got some things for you to do this Advent. So the younger families in the church, the Key Stage 1 junior families, are going to be receiving this book, the Jesus Story book. And you'll also be receiving a bit of red string, a pack of pegs, and a pack of cards that we've got here. And the object is that every day you pick the first of the cards, so you don't put them out all together, you have them in your pack, and you read the story. And every day you read the story, you look through your pack of cards to find the next, so you can hang it up as an Advent calendar. And it will remind you of God's story starting at creation, and we're going to go right through to the birth of Jesus, that God's involved in it all, that Christmas is part of His story, such an important part. So you're going to be getting that. The older Key Stage 2s will be getting a different book. And don't worry, adults, you will have seen come out in the newsletter that Tim's encouraging us to all log in to Tearfund. And if you go to the newsletter that came out this week, all you have to do is click on the click here bit, and it takes you straight to the site, and you can log in your details, and you will then get a daily email with a devotion, something to tune us into God in this time of Advent. It's a brilliant time of the year to do it, so I hope that everybody dives in, and actually that in doing so we all listen to God's voice too. And good luck coming to your snails. Can I just warn you, I thought one of mine was dead, and then I found it crawling across the kitchen about 4 hours later. So if you do get snails and bring them inside, do make sure to put them outside again. Thank you.